Hello everybody, my name's James and welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 28 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your FPL planning and certainly looking forward at future game weeks. Very handy at this time of the year, particularly when next week we've only got 4 fixtures. This week we've got 11 because Bournemouth and Luton Town double over the next 55 minutes or so. I'm going to try and get through as many of your FPL dilemmas as possible ahead of the 11 AM UK time deadline. Firstly, before I do though, some of your questions may be answered on screen, so I'll take you through the graphics. To the left of me, you'll see my top captaincy picks for the week. I think Solanke, Morris, Saka, Neto, Watkins top 5 for me. Haaland for at 6th place for those who just can't not do it. Below me, you'll see the benching dilemmas where there's 2 players together. The player with a tick is the preferred option to start. They run in order left to right, pages 1 to 4. You'd also see goalkeepers on page 5. At the very bottom of the screen on the grey ticker, you'll see the next 5 game week fixtures for all 20 teams. Blue fixtures indicate a double game week. In the bottom right hand corner, you'll see my predicted lineups for all 20 teams this game week. And at the top, you'll see my team as it stands, not likely to change because transfers have been made. Kirkez in for Senasai, Solanke in for Alvarez, -4 taken. I line up this week. Areola, Doughty, Gabriel, Kirkez, Saka, Bailey, Bowen, Son, Captain Solanke, Haaland, Watkins. On the bench, Dubravka, Foden, Porro, and Pau Torres. Yeah, obviously don't want Phil Foden sitting there, but for me it's the right call with what I've got. Villa's high line for Sonny, Bailey's form in home games, the fact that City do after all play Liverpool. Felt like the right choice for me, but a very tough one to bench Phil Foden. On triple captaincy, let me cover that off. For me, if I hadn't used it, I would use it on Solanke. I'd get it done. It's going to give you less of a headache around 34 and 37 later on, I think, where what's best for triple captaincy left might clash with other chip usage. So for me, I would get it used. I would take the chance. The first game is Sheffield United at home. We think he trained okay yesterday. I'd be getting on with it personally. I think that's kind of it. Oh, the other one I wanted to cover, Haaland to Morris. I've seen a lot of this. And it's fine. But it depends very much on what you're doing in strategy. What you got to think, right, when you sell a player like Haaland, you're selling him this week, and Luton's got a double, and Luton's got a game next week. That's cool. That's fine. But the chances are you want to go back there. You need to have a resolution for how. That's it. You want to go Haaland to Morris because he's got an extra fixture now and another one next week. It's fine. But let me say this. I could have done it for a -4 and I've chosen not to. And that's because in game week 30, I'd rather focus on other things. I don't have Chelsea coverage. I don't have Liverpool coverage. So it is team dependent as well. MRCX is going to be first on a question. Says, hi James, hope you're well. Would you get in Bowen for Foden for a -4? Probably looking to get Foden back in 31-32. No free hit, 29. Cheers. Yeah, the fact that you're not free hitting in 29 and Bowen has Burnley at home this week, yep, gives it the edge in my opinion. Billy Taylor says, yo Jimbo, I'm planning to go without one of Salah or Haaland from 30 to 32. Who scores more in that period? Salah has, I know the fixtures, that's all good. For me, I'm always going to back the big man. He's got 2 home games. Thing is as well, I think Haaland plays all 3 of them. Salah, Sheffield United at home, 3 days before going to Manchester United. Still Haaland for me. Billy Taylor says, Gyak to you too. Yes, sorry. I mistyping something and pressed enter. Aaron Hill says, hey James, do you think Kivior will keep his place? I'm hoping he will start versus Luton in 31. But Zinchenko and Tomiyasu will likely both be fit by then. Also, is Maguire definitely out today? Cheers. You've got no chance of me giving you an answer that's going to guarantee you Kivior is going to be available for game week 31. Listen, let me set it to you like this. They play Man City on the Sunday. Then on the Saturday in game week 32 to go to Brighton. Luton's on the Wednesday. He could lose his place and he might play against Luton. He could keep his place and he might not play against Luton. It's the easy fixture in between 2 difficult ones, mate. So let's guess away, mate. Maguire, we pretty sure he's out today, yes. FPL Don says, morning James, on a wild card. I want Palmer, but that would mean I only have 10 players next week. He's having one of Maddison, Barkley or Kudus instead. Worth the -4 I'd then have to take in game week 30. Well, all I'd say on that is, which if it's a Tottenham player, you're not going to take a -4 to move it on in game week 30 with Luton at home. Kudos, maybe more. Barkley definitely would. Depends what you set in the rest of the team. I'm not massively keen on this Ross Barkley thing, to be honest. It's fine. It's double. It's fixture next week. I can't really give a huge reason for people not to go there, particularly on wildcard. I think probably on wildcard I would go there, yeah. I'm not hugely keen on it. Yeah, I would probably go Barkley because of what's in front of my face. However, if you can go Maddison instead or Kudos, I would also do that, I think, yeah. Yeah, I'd be setting it up to get Palmer back in 30. I think if I was wildcarding now. But it depends what you're doing with Salah, Haaland as well. So like I said, for me, if I sell Haaland and I'm going into 30 with no Haaland, no Liverpool, no Chelsea, it's like, oh, Jesus, what's up? And the thing for me is, my game with 30 team is going to look all right, where it's wildcard 31 for me. So that's part why moving Haaland is just not on the table for me. On your circumstance, wildcarding now, depends how heavy you go, i.e. Salah, Haaland, what your set is for that, in terms of how to answer your question, I think, mate. So if you're leaving like Haaland, Salah in, start Palmer. If you're starting both, leave Palmer out. If you're leaving both of them out now, I'd probably start with Palmer. There you go. Ian from Melbourne says, evening James, hope your recovery is going well. Any updated thoughts on Maddison since his return? Is he the second best attacker for Tottenham if free hitting Gameweek 29 up the Shrimpers? Yeah, this is a next week question, mate, but yeah, he will be. I mean, he was better last week against Palace. Uros Milicevic says, hi James, bench one, Saka, Palmer, Son, Maddison, Foden. You've got the same shit as me other than Palmer, mate. From that lot, it's Maddison versus Foden probably. Maddison. Ivan says, hello James, would you for -4 do a Stupinan to Kirkes? I won't free hit 29 and I'm wildcarding in 31. I have no decent third option for defender. Would have to play a Stupinan if I don't sell Besser. Like, I've got a Stupinan in my predicted Brighton lineup. Like, how does that make you feel? However, you don't fancy them for clean sheets against anyone. There is a risk to his place. There's upside in the Bournemouth player. Bournemouth have got a better fixture in 30. It's probably a yes, but with reluctance. Frankie says, hi James, would you remove Haaland, Darwin or Watkins for Solanke? Free hit 29. I'd remove any of them for Solanke if I had to. If the question is which one, at this minute in time, it's Nunes for me. Dan Wilsh says, hi James, start Stupinan or Branthwaite? Stupinan. Andre Klim says, hi James, would you play Stupinan or Porro or do Stupinan to Bournemouth defender for a hit? That's covering what I've just covered for someone else. And I'm going to say the last bit, mate. MRCX says, how much do you value form over fixture in FPL? I don't have a definitive. Oh yeah, its form is on a scale of 8 out of 10 and fixture's on a 6 out of 10. I'm more of a fixture head, but I'll treat like with balance. Like if someone's in really good form, like a Foden at the moment, that's going to be factored in. It's not just, it's Liverpool, Arsenal next two. The fact he's in great form gets factored into the thinking, right? So I don't have a definitive, mate. Zaris says, does it worth it to take a -4 for Turner to Neto? I already have Areola. No for me, to be honest, because West Ham's fixture is so good. Stevie J10 says, hi James, good luck for the big game tomorrow. What's the best -4? Porro to Doughty, Porro to Kirkes, Dubravka to Neto, or just play Pickford and Porro? Porro move enables Salah in 30. Free hit 29. Wildcard later. It's going to be the Porro move then, because of what it can potentially enable you. Gives it the edge. Mitchell Joseph says, morning James, have an injury crisis in my defence, so would you just play Charlie Taylor or take a -4 for a Bournemouth defender? I'd be taking that -4, mate. Frankie says, and do you think KDB's Son is worth a -4? People chasing me in my mini league have Sons, so would be damage limitation. I'm not sure it's worth it this week. I mean, if you're building towards 29, you're going to want him about next week. If you're free hitting, you can obviously just have him next week. The excuse is probably there to sell De Bruyne now. Let me say that. Dan Robinson says, hi James, would you take a -4 to do a Stupinan to a Luton defender? Got Doughty already, no chance. I wouldn't go near any of them other than Doughty. Patrick Lawson says, morning James, getting Doughty this week. Would you do Haaland to Morris or KDB to a Bournemouth midfielder for a hit? Free hit 29, wildcard 30 is the plan. It's your free hit 29. It's probably similar to the previous ones. There's probably more De Bruyne into like a Palmer or a Son if you don't have it, ironically. I think if it's Bournemouth midfield, I'd go Tavernier, but his form's not great. If it's something that you think you'll be benching longer term and you're concerned about the money, go Clive. It probably is that with a Bournemouth midfielder, isn't it? I think under your circumstance. I've explained my reasoning on Hall and Morris, so that would you? I can only say no. Zaris says, let's give some help to this mate and subscribe and all like the content. Greetings from sunny Greece. Thank you, Zaris. Cheers, pal. I'm hoping for not too much sun in Birmingham tomorrow, because otherwise I'm going to have to wear a cap. FPL Gold Galazzo says, good morning, FPL Top Advisor. Have a smashing game. And smash the like button, you bugs. Cheers, mate. Aaron Hill says, do you know anything about when Allison will be back? I own Kelleher, so wondering when I need to consider moving on. All the best. No, conflicting reports. Some have said after the international break. Others have suggested he'll struggle to play again this season, but I don't have anything concrete to tell you, mate. Simon Kurtz says, hi, James, only one issue today. Whether to start Porro or Van Heck. Thanks for the great work. Pedro, mate. What's your best case of Van Heck? 6? Because Brighton actually keep a clean sheet? Nah, go Pedro, mate. Simon Kurtz says, hi, James, only one issue today. Whether to start Porro or Van Heck. That question was so good, I thought I'd read it twice. Nigel Sam says, good luck this week, James. Who would you play from Saka, Garnacho? Jesus, rice and peas, mate. Excuse me. That question gave me indigestion. Do I even answer that? Saka, mate. Okay. Saka. Ignore that yellow flag. Jesus. Emmanuel Topo says, bench one of Gordon, Maddison or Tony. Tony with reluctance. Is that right? Yeah, probably is. Gareth James says, morning, James. Good luck this week. I have 2 bench issues. Need to bench one out of Foden, Garnacho, Palmer, and then one of Van Heck and Walker. Currently benching both City assets, which feels wrong. I think I'd bench Garnacho. Foden, form exceptional. Palmer, home fixture on pens. I think I'd bench Garnacho from that. And then one of Van Heck and Walker, currently benching both City assets, which feels wrong. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool away, Walker is probably a bench, isn't it? Chris Hermitage says, morning, James. Would you start Aki or Branthwaite? I don't think it'll matter, mate. Probably Aki, set piece threat. Dion Chung says, hi, James. Would you start Foden over Watkins or just base on ownership? Not sure. I wouldn't leave Ollie Watkins out of any game, I don't think, at this moment, mate. Charlie says, hi, James. Is there a chance we are underestimating Foden's form and benching him for Palmer could massively backfire? Cheers and good luck. Charlie, I can't see the future, mate. I'm really sorry about that. The Waddler GG says, hi, James. Thanks for the stream. I have Foden on bench and Saka starting. I want to sell Foden for 4.2 enabler. Game week 30, Bowen to Salah would mean Richard's first bench. Thoughts? No, rotation of players is going to be more useful for you over this period, so look at a different solution. Chris W says, hi, James. KDB to Bowen for a -4, then Garnacho to Maddison in 29, or just play KDB, bring one of them in 29, we're moving one to Salah in 30. Thanks. I would do the -4. Look, let me say it like this. It's the same all the time. You sell players like KDB, Haaland, Salah, Son, Watkins. These guys will kill you in any game. All right? What are you going to do? Hold on to them all forever? No, I think moving KDB on is probably the right move for you. So, yeah, I would get it done. Hello to Dan the Fisherman. Patrick Gordett says, morning, James. Would you bring Zabani in for a -4 if the alternative start is Porro? Yeah, probably. I obviously went for Kirkez, which is a little risky. I probably would, but then my strategy as well is to run through 29 and then play the Bournemouth player in game week 30. So it does depend a little bit on what you're doing maybe as well. Gavin Richardson says, morning, James. Love the Money in Football pod this week. What an absolute pickle so many teams are in. Yes. We did a pod on Thursday on Wolves, and there's a lot of clubs looking over their shoulders who I think we'll be covering more in future weeks. Aston Villa's one we're going to have to look at soon, I think. Snicko says, hey, James, running through to wildcard 31 with 8 currently for game week 29. Is it madness to do Foden to Barkley Chong for -4 this week and have to bench either Son or the Robot? Who to bench if so? I would not be considering that sort of thing, mate. Dan the Fisherman says, -4 for Morris to Haaland means benching Ward-Prowse. Or just play Haaland. He'd obviously had meant Haaland, so Morris -4. For me, it's just play Haaland. John says, hi, James. Good luck this round. Solanke or Morris for captain and bench Palmer or Watkins. Wouldn't be benching Watkins, mate. He's going to have chances tomorrow. And Solanke for the captaincy for me. Gavin Welsh says, I brought in Semenyo for Tony this week. It gives me the money I need to bring in Salah in 30. Okay, thanks for sharing your midfield. Good luck, Gavin. Emmanuel Topo says, question series. Things James would give up for Spurs title. Suj. Absolutely. Fuck him. Without hesitation, get rid of him. Darmin. Sack me, boss. Whatever. Darmin Marolia says, "Hi James, I'm on no free hit 29. Should I remove Foden or Richarlison for Bowen?" I don't look. Richarlison said last week, he was like, "Yeah, I'll be back next week." Basically, he was just telling the Brazilian press he's okay because he doesn't want to get left out of the Brazil squad. Like, we know what that is. I think unless Son was to get injured this weekend, then even if Richarlison's back, he ain't going to start for you next week. I'd be selling Richarlison personally. Alistair says, "Hi James, hope all is well. Bailey or Douglas Luiz this week?" So Leon Bailey for me. You'll know I'm a fan, just not a fan this weekend. I mean, on paper, starting him over Foden looks wrong, doesn't it? But his goals per minute this year and his home record, it's odd benching that. Dermot Whelan says, "Hi James, sell Palmer to Bowen this week for the Burnley fixture or wait for next week. Need him for 29 anyways." Is there an alternative? Do you not want Palmer for 30? This is what it's about. It's a round circle, isn't it? You're definitely going to want Cole Palmer for 30. Is there an alternative? If not, fine. Do it. You might be wildcarding in 30. If so, yeah, I'll do it. FC Paul says, "Morning, James. Been very let down by an injury hit. Ademo, I presume that's meant to be Adebayo. What do you think about Semenyo, free hit 29? Well, we said on COTC that we think Semenyo is the second best Bournemouth attacker. It's just, I suppose free hit 29 doesn't matter so much, but are you going to want to move Semenyo to something else in game week 30, and what does it look like? It's what you got to figure, right? We'd all sit here and go, "Oh, I'd have 6 players from Bournemouth Luton this week." Like, I get it. Well, what's the consequence afterwards? Someone responded to me on the Bird app last night to my team and said, "I have a similar plan to you. I'm wildcarding 31 as well." So, don't think so. With 3 Arsenal away to City and 3 Luton away to Tottenham, don't think you are, mate. I think you'll be wildcarding in game week 30. So it's circumstantial, but you got to consider exits for these players, right? Semenyo is not going to sit on your team for the rest of the year. So for this year, okay, cool, good. We expect him to play. But then what afterwards? Is it worth enough to put him in your team to balls it up for the future game weeks? That's what you have to think and consider in your mind. On Adebayo, someone DM'd me last night who I've never had a DM off before. I don't know what the source is. I don't necessarily trust the source, but I'm going to tell you that person told me that there's every chance Adebayo will be fit for this game week. That information probably doesn't matter much to anyone, and I'm not suggesting you play Adebayo because I think even if he's available, he's probably not going to start today, so what sort of good is it? Rob Edwards didn't rule either him or Lokonga out of Wednesday's game, but he did say they wouldn't be available today, and I don't know why he would say that. It doesn't strike me as the sort of one to play games, Rob Edwards. So I'm sharing that info. Nobody buy Adebayo, but it might be a relevant one to people who obviously still won't. I get that. It's an awkward one. Rhett says, "Hey James, hope you're well. Planning on game week 31, 28 Robot and Foden. 28 Robot and Foden to Morris and Bowen. 28 Robot and Foden to Morris and Bowen. 29 Odegaard to Kudus for a week rental before moving him to Salah for 30. Decent. It sounds fine, mate." MJ says, "Kirkis or Zabani?" It's on my screen, mate, top right. Wildcard 35, free at 29. I think with that, though, like, how much do you need Kirkis? Zabani's probably going to play all the games, particularly with his Senesi injury. If you need to be playing him every week up to 35, then Zabani is the right choice for you. Chim says, "Hello, James. Which of these 4 do you think will score the highest this game week? Gabriel, Adingra, Garnacho or Tony? Will dictate whether I get Bournemouth defence or Barkley." Who do I think scores the most out of that? Probably Garnacho out of all of that. But there's no way I'd bench Gabriel, by the way. Just for clarity. There's no way I'd bench Gabriel. Sean Reed says, "Morning, James. No free hit 29. Have Areola, Udogi." Okay, he's got loads of players. -8 overall. Will save free hit for 34. Thanks for the great content. I mean, the players that you've got are pretty strong going into next week. You've got all the key ones there, mate. So probably hold off. Penguin says, "Hi, James. Hope all is well. Haaland to Morris from -4. We'll have 8 for 29. Cheers, mate. I've covered near the start, my friends, so I'm gonna skip it. It's circumstantial. Really depends what you're doing strategy and also about getting back. For me, I've explained for me it's going to be a bit awkward with no Salah, no Chelsea to try and then bring him back. So just consider the bigger picture perhaps. That's where the answer will lie for all of you. Do I think Morris scores more points than Haaland this week? Yeah, sure. Look, he's second on the captaincy. Look who's sixth. It's still Haaland. Still Haaland. We think Konate is probably going to be unavailable tomorrow. You all going to be that shocked if Haaland returns tomorrow. My Toast says, morning James, a stupid name for Kirkes and Nunes to Solanke, -4 sound okay. Also bench 1 of Kabore, Botman, 8 Norrie. That sounds fine. On the benchings, I'd bench Botman out of that, I think. Gavin Richardson says, pushing through 29 may end up 4 away from my wildcard 31 team anyway. I've not heard much love for wildcard 36, bench boost 37, with options to free hit 38 or 34 thoughts. Yeah, circumstantial to your team, mate. There's loads of different ways to skin this. Wildcarding before the bench boost is obviously a strategy that a lot will end up with. I say obviously a lot will end up. Plenty will end up with. Thomas Baker says, hi James, sell Darwin Nunes or Haaland for Solanke. Free at 29, likely wildcard 31. I mean, still sell Nunes for me out of that. But with that, Haaland at home to Arsenal. It was home. They're so good at the Etihad. Milan says, hello James, bench Barkley, Odegaard or Bailey. Christ on a stick. And his -4 from Trippier to Kirk is worth it. I'll just play Porro. I'll take the -4. And from the players that you've got there, I'd bench Barkley. Yeah, look at the benching dilemmas. I've got Bailey above Barkley. I wouldn't be benching Odegaard. Daniel Evans says, hi James, would you bench Foden or KDB for Barkley? KDB. Yeah, I've got Foden above De Bruyne on the bench and dilemmas. John says, hi James, you're awesome. Cheers, John. So are you, mate. Frankie says, bench Castagne or Livramento. I've backed Fulham for a clean sheet, so I would play Castagne, mate. John says, hi again, Brentford or Pau Torres to bench. Cheers. Probably won't matter. From that, I'd probably play Torres. Mind you, he's more likely not to play, isn't he? I don't even have him in the predicted lineup. Can we see an Everton clean sheet at United? If I didn't have a Bournemouth defender, I'd be looking at a -4 strongly there. That's the answer. Paul H says, hi James, would you bench Foden or Palmer? He's going to be Foden with reluctance, mate. Philip Sukta says, hi James, no question from me. Just thank you for your great content. Wish you good health and great game week. Thank you very much, mate, which is approaching 10:30. So 33 minutes to deadline, guys. For the patrons watching live, if you've got any credible news, ITK heading around, let us know on Slack, please, guys. It'd be hugely appreciated. And I'll share with the chat. Jonathan says, morning, James. Bowen for Garnacho for a hit. No free hit 29. Wild card in 30-31. That's a yes from me, mate. Brunson says, hi, James. What's the best of these 3 potential moves? Foden to Palmer. KDB to Son. Or Porro to Doughty. Free hitting in 29. I'm tempted to say Porro to Doughty because of the double, but what does that leave you for 30? So the rest of your team's quite relevant to that. I think KDB to Son. My missus just messaged me and said Bournemouth don't have any defenders. Yeah, they're... Oh, hold on. Yeah, they're all shit, babe. Zabani's the safe one that's going to play really long term. Kirkes is the short term punt that I'd recommend. That's the one I've gone for. Love you, bye. I think Son, Brunson, but... Tough. DC says, hi James, would you do Taylor to Doughty for another -4? Yep. We'll just play VVD. Yep. Get it done, mate. Alan Holohan says, not free hit 29. Foden to Bowen -4. Estupinan to Kirkes -4. Bench Porro or both -8. D neither, start Foden and Porro. So Foden to Bowen, treat these both in isolation. I think the answer for both is yes. With you not free hitting 29. I think it's yes to both. Andrew Jarvis says, morning mate, hope you're well. Bench 1 from Foden, Gross, Souček. I mean, Souček out of boredom, mate. My other mids are Arsenal, so not benching them. Cheers, good luck. You too, pal. Yeah, Souček probably. I think Gross will play tomorrow. Cole MCC says, Haaland out for Morris this week or Tony next week. No free hit 29, wildcard 31. Yeah, look, if you're happy... The reality here is, if you're happy to go without Haaland for the next 2 weeks, cool. It's fine. When I say the next two, I mean for you, 28 and 30, because he obviously doesn't play 29. In terms of Tony, though, you're talking about going Tony next week, right? So if you go Haaland to Morris now, who are you selling for Tony next week? Like, I can't see your team. So that's a little bit relevant. But if you know your wildcard in 31, you're happy to go about Haaland 28, 30. Sell him. Sell him, particularly if it's for free. The -4 feels a bit more borderline. For free, I get it. I do get it. Ken, if Vaz is on wildcard 30 or 31, bench boost 34, free at 37, would you remove Kevin for Bowen? Already took out Haaland for Solanke and benching Foden. Yes, I would. Or as my son would say, yes, I would. Yes, I would. Yahya says, choice between... What do you mean you can't afford them? You can't go Burn to Kirkes. Seriously. You sure? Yahya says, choice between Turner and Lamptey to Neto and Doughty -4. Would play Dubravka and Van Dijk if I don't do the -4. Or Lamptey and Estupinan to Zabani and Doughty -4. Keeper, particularly if you haven't got another bench option one. So yeah, that first option. Vinyl says, good morning, James. Hope all is well. Is it mad to think about going without Son, Bowen and Villa mid in place of Gordon, Palmer and Foden for the run-in? Fixtures hard to ignore. What's the run-in to you? Is that from now or is that like from game week 30? What is it, mate? What is it? Because in front of our face right now, the Son, Bowen and Bailey/Louise is better for now, isn't it? Once you hit game week 31, that flips the other way. So, like, it's your call. Define the run-in. Is that now or later? Cole MCC says, Senasai out for Zabani this week or Reguilon next week. No free hit 29, wildcard 31. For me, now. Better fixture for Bournemouth in 30 as well. James Brennan says, holla Jimbo, where would VVD be on the bench in dilemmas? Cheers. Good question. Right at the bottom. Possibly off the page. Arguably, yeah, possibly off the page. Adam says, who would you rather bench, James? Odegaard or Foden? Foden. Currently benching Odegaard, but don't like it. Playing 7... Foden, mate. I wouldn't be benching Odegaard with that home fixture, mate. MG Beckett says, good morning, James. Would you triple cat Solanke despite the doubts around his fitness? Yep, covered at the start. For me, I'd be getting it done, personally. Sean Limbrick says, morning, James. I don't have Solanke. 9 for 29 currently with 2 FTs. Was going to ignore Solanke, but you have to take a -4 and get him, right? It'd be suicide to when I'm top of most of my mini leagues, right? You've answered your own question, Sean. I don't need to add anything. You know what the answer to that is. Reese M says, hi, James. Neto to some from -4, but it would mean benching Foden. Free hit 29, but the thought was to just get Son in ahead of 30. Could get Son for free in 30 for Odegaard. We'll need a Salah plan in 30, 31. It sounds like wait for that one, I think, Reese. Yeah, I think it's a wait. Gavin Richardson says, Tripp's injury may not be that bad FPL-wise in terms of missed game weeks. Unless Eddie Howe was lied about how bad it is, want him for the run-in. It's a hold, right? Eddie Howe wouldn't lie. No, Eddie Howe would not lie or put you off. He said in his press conference yesterday, he said he'll miss the next 2, including Newcastle's FA Cup quarter-final next week, and then obviously the internationals. Then he said later in his press conference, I can't promise he'll be back for West Ham in game week 30. Make of it what you will. We've got the same information, mate. Motta says, bro, you keep saying it's not the how many, it's the who, but who are the who, bro? Cheers. Fair enough. Good question. So the importance of the who's next week, quite clearly, in terms of absolute definites. Watkins, Son, Tony. That's the biggest 3 next week. Watkins, Tony, Son. That's clear. I think on top of that, you'll also want Jared Bowen with the home fixture. You will want at least one other Tottenham. Those are the biggest ones for me. The rest, it's a scramble. Langer might do well versus Barkley next week. It's not that deep. But if you're saying to me, I've got 11 next week, but I don't have Tony, Watkins, Son as a minimum, I'd be like, oh, hell. That's what we mean when we say it's not the how many, it's the who. And there's a cluster behind that. I think Bowen and I think another Tottenham player, whether that's a Maddison or a Porro, just whatever, something else. I think that's the most important in terms of next week. No one's going to free hit without that core, I don't think. Might be a few go all in, don't go Bowen. But you got to ask yourself, right? If you were free hitting next week, what you going with? And those that you look at and you go, oh yeah, they're 100% for me on a free hit next week. Those are your ones. Those are your ones. It's worth being aware of Morris at this stage as well, because a lot of people look like they're trying to get there and buy him, right? Good question. I appreciate that. Mark Ellison says, hey, James, love your work as always. Looking forward to next Big Mac Challenge. Sod that shit, mate. Already moved Tony to Morris. Should also do Haaland Solanke from -4. It's a yes from me, mate. Cantonia says, hi, James. My midfield, Saka, Palmer, De Bruyne, Foden, Garnacho. At the moment, I'm benching KDB. Hit this week to get Salah for KDB and bench Garnacho. I plan to hit in 30 to do this transfer anyway. Thank you. Oh, look. My wife has made it work. I would play De Bruyne. I would make it work in 30. That's my answer. Paul H says, hi, James. Would you go Foden to Son for free? Well, it needs a bit of context in terms of 29. Like, if you're not free hitting 29, that's a definite for me, yeah. Andy G, the Golf Pro, says, hi, James, bench Foden or Garnacho. I'm going to say Garnacho. Whoosh says, bench Gross or Kudos. Gross. Abby says, I don't have a bench this week and plan to do Richarlison to Maddison for a hit next week. Should I do the transfer this week and play Maddison ahead of Douglas Luiz? Close that, Maddison Luiz. But yeah, I would probably get the transfer done, actually. Yeah, I'd get the transfer done. If you get the transfer done, you're going to want to play Maddison, aren't you? That's close. Luiz's home record is staggering, isn't it? If in doubt, don't do it. It's a difficult one, that. Dixie says, hi, James. Would you do the hokey cokey with Tony to Morris from -8? I'm not free hitting in 29. Cheers. No. You're going to sell Morris back to Tony next week. Don't think Morris is sitting there. You're not going to sell him back. So, if you're selling something else to Tony, I don't mind that as a chain. Otherwise, a no from me. Peter says, hi, James. Hope you're well. Obviously, it's team dependent, but when do you think is a good time to wildcard for those who have already used their bench boost? Good luck this week. It's team dependent. I'm sorry. It really is team dependent, right? There's a lot of people going to wildcard in 30. There's a lot of people wildcarded now. I'm probably going to be 31. But I'm also looking at solutions where if 34 lands in certain ways, I might not be wildcarding until 34 or 35 or even 36. But just because I'll run through okay. So, like, I don't know when I'm doing it, Peter. Like, my loose plan is 31. Ask me in 14 days. I might be giving you a different answer, mate. Jose Ricardo Roda says, wildcard active. Good luck to you. Lee Brunt says, use triple captainship with Solanke or save. For me, it's a use. LFC BSFC. What's your current overall? Check my tweet. I think it's about 125k. 124,813. GG Magpie says, is it viable to go without Saka, Palmer and wildcard 28? Of course it is. Of course it's viable. Wildcard and go without Saka this week personally, but I'd be booking in. I'd argue be booking in something like Saka to Palmer in 30 if that helps. Daniel Ross says, how close do you think the decision between Foden and Palmer is? What, like to start this week? Like ridiculously close. Very close. Jurkima says, bench 1, Walker, Van Heck or Region. Bench 1. Oh yeah, let's play Region away to Arsenal. Sarcasm. LH says, morning, Jim. No questions. I'm in a good position for once. Hope your Saka is okay and 3 points for you lot. Massive win for us last night, bud. Good luck to you, pal. Cheers, Joe. I appreciate whatever that was about. Thank you, mate. J. Lord Broski says, morning, James. No questions today. Hope you're doing better health-wise, though, bro. Actually, what's your opinions on TAA Bollock's statement about it meaning more to Liverpool than City? Absolute joke. It's just staring apart, isn't it? And it's nonsense. Jay Barker says, morning, James. Have 2 free transfers. Done Vardiel and to Doughty already. Sorry, Vardiel to Doughty already. Should I do it Stupinan to Kirkes with the other or roll it to next week for the blank? Currently got 6 players as it stands. Get it done, buddy. That's my opinion. Again, reminder to our patrons, if we've got any info on team news, do let us know in our Slack, guys. Be hugely appreciated. Yeah, I'd get it done, Jay. Niall McNevin, start Palmer or Bailey. Bailey for me. You can tell from the way I lost my nuts when speaking about that, how difficult that decision is. Michael Scott says, Porro worth buying over Udogie for 0.8 more. I wouldn't rush to be buying either this week is the first point, but we're possibly at the stage where the answer to that question might be no. But I do think this is more of a next week conversation. Martin Taylor says, hi mate, as always, thanks for your great content. Do you think Haaland to Morris is worth it for -12? Gives me 4 doublers this week. It would cost me 0.3 to get the robot batting 31 for free hit. Free hit in 31. I don't hate that, by the way. I've been looking at that as a possibility. Free hit 31 as well. No, it's a no from me, Martin. No. Ben M says, just cheers. Best format for last minute decisions. Thank you, Ben. Good luck this week. Thank you, Matt Lackin and Simon Kurt. Static says, hi, James. Start Moreno or Bradley. Didn't see it on the dilemmas. Yeah, that's because Bradley would be off the page, mate. Nigel Sam says, what are the best free Spurs assets in FPL now? Sonny, obviously. Maddison, and it's possibly... I mean, money aside, it is Porro. But the money might be important. Matthew Hall says, -4 for Kirkes or play Porro Taylor, non-free at 29. I've taken a hit, so you're in the same position as me, mate. Martin Taylor meant wildcard 31. That's okay. I don't mind free hit 31. Wildcard 31. It would still be a no from me, Martin. I think I'm never going to give a thumbs up to a -12. Nearly never, ever. And I realise that's just one -4 in isolation, probably because you might have already taken the -8. It's a no, mate, for me. Josh Riddle says, Mengi 3.9 locked if stripped for pounds. I wouldn't go near him, mate. 0 clean sheets away from home this season, 2 away games this week. Matt Lackin says, free hit 29 if currently only 5 players in game week 29. Transfers this week would be Kirkes and Bowen in and Maddison in next week, leaving me with 7 players. Free hit or save it. Borderline. I mean, again, have you got Tony Watkins' son as part of that as well? If so, it's borderline. You probably get away with it. It's borderline. I think 6 or less is, if you're going to land to 6 or less next week, that's possibly in free hit zone. Get a 7. I mean, -4 to get you to 8. It would be perfectly reasonable under the circumstances, Matt. So probably a save. But again, have you got the key ones? Liam Campbell says, hey, James, I have a couple of benching issues. Oh, excuse me. Would you bench Foden or Maddison and then bench Udogie or VVD? I would bench VVD. And I think Maddison. Mahesh says, hi, James, who should I bench? Haaland, Palmer or Watkins? That's going to be Cole Palmer from me, mate. Dreaming FBL says, bench one of Foden, Palmer, KDB, Saka, Son or Watkins. I am going to say with big reluctance, KDB. Guy Swinnerton says, long-term thinking. Sell KDB for Kudos, sell Maguire for Region -4 to get funds for game week 30, 31. Sell Son, Salah and Watkins back. There's no point taking the -4 for Region now. None. Even if you didn't have a playing player, you think Region's getting 5 or more this week. Good luck with that. So, sure, fine, but Region next week, not this week. Daniel Owen says, would you bring in Neto for Dubravka for -4? Well, I haven't, but my other keeper is Areola. If my other keeper wasn't Areola, yeah, I'd be considering it. Philip Bogus says, hey, James, would you sell Foden for Bowen or Haaland to Morris? It would be to Bowen for me personally, but then I'm not free hitting 29. John Walker says, would you do Walker to Kirkes for -4? We'll be able to still get 10 out next week, then wildcard and 30. Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Eros Milicevic says, Zabani in for Aki this week or roll and get Tony and Bowen for the blank. Maybe also Porro Doggy for -4 next week. Don't really like getting Villa or Luton defenders. Your priority off that, for me, is the Tony and Bowen next week rather than the Zabani now. That doesn't mean you shouldn't necessarily do all of it, particularly if you strip back and don't do the Tottenham defender for the -4. George says, cap Saka and just own Dom. Thoughts? Play it your way. Dion Chung says, will Kirkes be safe for game week 31? No, can't guarantee you that, mate. Can't guarantee you that at all. Can't even guarantee you for 30, mate. I can't even guarantee you this week, but there's no guarantee with a player like that. He should play twice this week. No, can't guarantee you, mate. Shazad Jill says, morning, James. Who would you bench out, Saliba, Foden or Watkins? Okay. I want to know what three defenders you've got that's better than Saliba this week. What you got? Double Bournemouth and Doughty. If so, the answer is going to be Saliba. Otherwise, play Saliba and bench Foden. Fighter Jet says, morning, James. Who to bench out of Foden, Bowen or Palmer? It's going to be our mate Phil Foden, unfortunately. Adam says, remember when someone DM'd you and told you Charlie Taylor had a broken neck, was out for 6 months? Lol. He's back now. Always need to know the source is legit. To be fair, Adam, he didn't say that. He said 2 months. He didn't say 6 months. And he missed about 6 weeks. So, yeah, he didn't say broken neck either. He said, like, I think he said stress fracture in his neck or something. So, I mean, was it right or not? No, maybe not. But he did miss about 6 weeks. So the info that he was going to be out for a while was correct. He definitely didn't say 6 months. He said 2 months, I'm pretty sure. Henriette says, good morning, James. Would you do Dubravka to Neto for a hit? For hit 29 playing Areola. If no hit, it's going to be a no. You got Areola. Marco says, will Salah play? I should think so, mate. But I also don't pick the team. Progression says, hey, James, triple cap Solanke with no chips left for 34-37. Okay, I like that question. I think it's still a yes for me, because you look at certain things, you think, oh wow, Haaland could have a good double in 37. Well, yeah, they might lose next week to Newcastle, which would surprise, but it's not impossible. And then there's a chance he's got no double at all, for example. Similar could be the case with would it be no double at all? No, there would be a double, actually, to be fair. Yes, there would be 34-37. It might not appeal so much. I think I would still do it. Sorry, I've just complicated that more than I should have. I would still do it. Let me say that. Tom Spain says, hi, James. Hope you're well. Would you bring in a Bournemouth defender for free this week for centre side and play 29 with 10? Oh, yeah, get a Bournemouth player, mate. Dion Chung says, you bring in Maddison for Foden next week. I don't know. It might be Maddison for Saka for me. Possibly. Dan Wheeler says, hi, James. Thoughts on a Fulham defender on wildcard instead of Region? Sheffield United and Forest after the blank. The answer to that possibly lies in whether you're free hitting 29 or not. It's worth saying Brentford's fixtures from 29 onwards are pretty good. Other than probably Villa away in 32, you could make a case to play him all the way through. So it's pretty good as well, mate. So it possibly depends on next week is the definitive on that. Kieran Page says, bench one of Son, Palmer, Saka, Bowen or Bailey. And say Palmer. At least I'm consistent, right? These benching dilemmas, guys, the big name players, the chances are they're on the benching dilemmas. And if they're not there, my assumption is you should play them. Emmanuel Topos, his question series, what would James give up for a Spurs league title? Your favourite food and drink? Comfortably, mate. Not a problem. I have second favourites. Magnus Anderson says, play Branthwaite or Bradley or hit in a Bournemouth defender. Hit in a Bournemouth defender. Andrew Sand says, bit off topic, would you pick Jarrell Quansah for Marsh's England squad? No, a little bit early. There's too many other good ones who need a proper look. I regret, by the way, there's 2 players on the England pod on Tuesday that we meant to speak about, and for one reason, a distraction happened and we didn't. Those 2 were Ezri Konsa, who I think there's every chance will be in the squad, but the fact he didn't get minutes in the last one makes me think he won't be in the squad in the summer. And the other one was Curtis Jones, who I would have wanted in this squad, but I discounted based on his injury. I don't see him getting his debut call-up for the tournament. Carlos Hamdel says, Branthwaite or Estupinan? Estupinan. Emmanuel Topo says, bench Estupinan or Moreno? Moreno. NGGGG24 says, Gross or Foden? Foden. Aaron Reed says, hi, James, bench Gordon or Garnacho? Probably Gordon with the away game. Big L says, James, hope all is well, mate, and the back is holding up okay. Thank you. I'm thinking Neto for Dubravka and Barkley in for Diaz. I don't know why you've put B Diaz, is there more than one? Can you think of any other options in the midfield for 5 million? That cheap? Again, depends on your strategy. Elanga is an alternative, but I think you would be going Barkley now, to be honest. Ross Cordinley says, taking a -8. Haaland and Morris for another -4. That'd be madness, right? I think I know the answer to both questions already. I wouldn't play either Porro or Moreno over Foden. yeah, it's going to be no to another -4. As previously said, I'm not going to give a thumbs up to a -12. Christopher says, hi James, bench Gross or Garnacho. I'm going to say Gross. Lion Pedersen says, bench Porro, Stupinan or Branthwaite. Branthwaite. Redrick 103 tempted to bring in Salah next in this week for Foden and play him of exact money and bench one of Saka, Son or Barkley. Is it worth it? I mean, if I had Salah, I certainly wouldn't be benching him. And yes, it's Barkley I'd bench out of that lot. Yeah, cheers. Let's have a look. It's all right. My live people can wait. Cheers. Much appreciated. Thank you. This is my new £100,000 contract. This is the most important thing to me. Charlie Reapers with a laughing emoji. You good, Charlie? Nathaniel Chapman. Sorry, this is more important to me. Oh, fucking shit again. Every time we get a shit ticket at this place. Every fucking time it's a shit ticket at Fulham. Every time. Thank you, babe. Every time get a shit ticket down the front of Fulham. Every time. Joseph Robinson says, would James give up all his YouTube platforms and all his fantasy football interests completely? Leave all lives completely for Spurs title? I'll give up everything but my child, mate. Stop it, honestly. Yeah, I'm giving up everything but my son. Sorry, babe. David Tilson says, bench Garnacho or Tony. Pens versus home. I'd play Garnacho, I think. Particularly if you've got an Arsenal defender as well, it's conflicting. Evan Chowdhury said, good morning, Chong or Barkley? Miles Thompson says, really don't like the comments on Solanke's fitness over the past couple of weeks. Not used to playing twice in 5 days either. I've captain Cliver, currently at 6k, going to end up at 1k or 100k. I wish you luck, Miles. Vinal says, hi James, would you bench Foden or Tony today? Tony. Michael Tottle says, hi James, would you start over Aki or Pau Torres to at a -4 for a Bournemouth defender? It's the -4. Jay Barker says, would you bench boost Areola, Foden, Moreno, Porro? I mean, I've got quite a similar bench in the sense that I've got Pau Torres instead of Moreno. That's worse, obviously. And I've got Dubravka instead of Areola. That's worse. Probably not. Stuart Webb says -4 for Zabat, but there is potential upside in just getting rid of it. In the fact you haven't got a plan further down the line for it. I get that. You need to weigh that up. If you're weighing it up this close to deadline, the answer is going to be no. Again, to our patrons, we're 8 minutes from deadline. If we've got any info on team news, a share on our Slack would be hugely appreciated. Cheers in advance, guys. My Newcastle correspondent's in, Simon Bibby. Hi, James. Blank game with 29 free transfer question. Buyer playing keeper or second Spurs mid or Tony? Tony first, then Spurs mid, and then the keeper, mate. Vinal says, run in from 31 onwards for clarification. Thanks, mate. In relation to what, mate? I can't remember, it's ages ago. Hanny says, hi James, do you think Palmer will outscore Gross by 4 points this game? I'm going to -4 anyway. Next game week for Gross to Palmer. I'm thinking to make it this game week. I presume you mean 30 rather than next game week. Thank you again, Joe Finley Badder. Let me know if we need to just get rid of this individual permanently. Would I do it from not with Brighton's fixture this, but I'd wait personally. Hunter Tut says, James, what do you think to having 2 referees for each match? No, because what happens if they disagree? Gareth Bennett says, morning James, would you start Foden or Gross? Foden. Alan Holohan says, would you sell Richarlison or Foden for Bowen? No free hit in 29. Would bench Foden if I don't sell. I'd get rid of Richarlison. I think it's a 1 pointer next week anyway. Savio says, hi James, what's your thoughts on Solanke and Saka starting? Yeah, they'll start. I'm fairly confident of that. I don't know, just for clarity. Nathaniel says, bench Palmer or Tony? Tony. Mark Wright says, hi James, play Gabriel or Palmer plays. Again, it's the same thing. Tell me the 3 defenders you've got this week that's better than an Arsenal defender. Like, unless it's Doughty and double Bournemouth defence, the answer is play both. That's my answer. G-Man says, hi James, bench 1 from KDB, Foden, VVD comfortably. Andrew Steddle says, not sure who to bench. Yeah, it's going to be Palmer, mate. Savio, the answer's going to be Palmer. Piyush says, hello James, big fan, listen to all your pods. This one's going to be KDB. Actually, no, I'd bench Foden over Palmer. Sorry for Savio. Bench KDB for Piyush. Frank says, hi mate, play Cash Taylor or -4 for Zabani. I'm good for 29. Take the -4. Keaton says, any news on Konate injury? He told Jurgen Klopp that he felt if he sprinted again during the game on Thursday night, he might do himself serious damage. He's gone from a scan. We obviously don't know the results of that scan. Liam McCartney says, hi James, Pedro Neto or Douglas Luiz. Of course, there's a fucking Luis Diaz and a Douglas Luiz. That's the confusion here. Pedro Neto or Douglas Luiz, choose one for benching. I've benched Neto based on my predictions. Andre Braga says, De Bruyne to Son or Areola to Neto or both for -4. I definitely won't be doing that keeper one. The -4 is quite dependent on 29. If you're free hitting 29, no. If you're running through, get it done. Crow TP says, bench Douglas Luiz or Foden. I'm going to say Douglas Luiz. Benjamin Cook, hi mate, start Haaland or Bailey. There's no benching Haaland, mate. Joel Elvin Plamp says, bench boost, Areola Moreno, Lewis, Soufal. It's heavily Clarent and Blue reliant, isn't it? They're all at home. I kind of prefer that to the last one we looked at. I don't mind it, but if Burnley score, you'll hate it. Matt Lackin says, thanks James, appreciate it. Good luck this week. You too. Daniel Warren, morning James. For -4, would you do Dubravka to Neto or Hwang to Bowen? With the latter, I'd be benching Foden. Can't do both. 3 in 29. Hwang's useless to you. Move it on. Georgie Vatsov says, Gross to Bowen for a hit. Not going to free hit 29. Plan to get Tony 29. Cheers. Yes. Andrew Flannery says, hi James, captain Bowen or Watkins. From that choice, for me, it would be Ollie Watkins, I think, mate. But the captaincy's on the screen. I can't remember what I put. Perrin says, hi James, thanks for the content. Sell Hwang for -4 for Tavernier. Bench Foden, Douglas Luiz. Yes, and bench Luiz. Stevie J10 decided on Porro move, but would you go Doughty or Kirkes? Would depend on my strategy. So for me, not free hitting next week. If I didn't have Doughty, that would be my priority. Dion Shung says, best Luton midfielder. It's probably Barkley. Pratic says, I'm on wildcard. I'm not going to read your whole wildcard team. Play it your way and good luck, mate. Pugsia says, hi James, bench Soufal or Moreno. Moreno off the fixture, mate. Ross Cordinley, thanks for the top content. As always, James, thank you, Ross. Good luck. Ricky says, -4 for Salah over Foden. Wouldn't be doing that. Super Milk says, buy Kirkes or Zabani. I've gone Kirkes. Andy Martin, he's in. Hello, pal. Morning, mate. 3 points in the bag already for Leeds. Are we going up automatically? You might be, mate, but you might start with a points deduction as well. Aditya B says, Foden or Bailey, who to bench? Foden. Onion Heart 1. Morning, James. Sky question after today. Saka to Bowen or Maddison. Bowen against Burnley with possible managed minutes with Villa and Newcastle to follow. Maddison has Fulham and Luton both being 3-0. Oh, you're telling me Tottenham have been in both 3-0? That's good. I mean, that would define your own question. Bowen's the more likely for me, mate. Andy Martin wants to know, start Kilman or Doggy. Kilman's a dry-ass pick, Andy. I feel like the right answer is Kilman, because it's a fixture that could provide a clean sheet. Udogie is not. Udogie's not getting the double point haul tomorrow. Let's put it that way. But that's a shitty one, Andy. Ask Twitter. You love it on there. Hey Chase says, hey, I've already done this, but need your opinion. -8. You've already done it. I'm not interested. Good luck, mate. It's nothing personal. If you've already done something, you've already done it. Just good luck. Mark Kitchu says, play Barkley or Salah, mate. Tom McGon, come you Spurs, top 4 incoming, bench Foden or Gross this week. It's Gross. Angus McNeese says, KDB to Son for a hit. And free hit 29. No. King of Mandalore says, take a -4 for Kirkes to bench Porro. That's what I've done. TJ Twatone says, bench Douglas Luiz or Foden. Douglas Luiz. It's a minute to deadline, guys. Doesn't look like we're getting anything in terms of any leaks of any lineups. That doesn't surprise me with like City playing on Sunday and stuff. Nick Sutcliffe says, help James. Foden, Palmer, Son, KDB, Saka, bench 1 with reluctance. Foden, mate. You're very welcome, Nick. Thank you. Aditya says, Foden or Bailey or Darwin. What is this? Start, bench, sell, shit on, shag. What, mate? Foden bench. FPL Sam, hi James, start Elanga or Foden this week. Forest Scott, Brighton away, Foden. Aaron says start KDB or Palmer. Aditya, Foden or Bailey or Darwin. Done that already, pal. Don't need to see it twice. Luke D something or other. Would you bench boost Saar? Sorry about your something or other, by the way. What's wrong with me? Sorry, pal. Luke D Benedictus, so I pronounced that correctly. Sorry, buddy. Would I bench boost Saar, 8 Nori, Garnacho, Van Heck? No. No. Emmanuel Topo, question series. What would James give for a Spurs title? Double taxes. Tax me double. It's cool, mate. King of Mandalore, take a -4, -8 total for Kirkis to bench Porro. Already have Neto, can bench Gabriel game week 32. Yeah, go for it. Simon says already taken a -4 this week to another one. Foden, KDB to Bowen. Don't mind it, but what are you doing next week? He said not free hitting next week. Got 8 players. Yep, do it. And Abraham says, hi James, would you play Kivior or -4 for a Bournemouth defender? Probably play Kivior, mate. Celtic Nomad says, howdy, Foden or Elanga to bench. Elanga, I believe we've hit the deadline, guys. And I nearly got through all of you. So shout out to those. B-Macker giving up his missus legend. John, Regetta HT, Liam Pereira, Carlos, Mo, Matt, Rip27, Kevin, Cesar, MRCX, Flimmy, and Gavin. Sorry I didn't get to your comments in time for deadline, but I think I surely covered nearly all of this. Surely. Gavin says, have a great Mother's Day tomorrow, getting sloshed in Birmingham. My Mother's Day is today, pal, because tomorrow is Tottenham Day in Birmingham, mate. If anybody's got any non-FPL questions, throw them in the chat. Happy to cover them off for 15 minutes or so. If you came just for the FPL stuff, smash a like, hit the sub button. Deadline stream will go ahead next week before I go to Fulham. There probably won't be a Q&A section afterwards. It's 1:30 deadline, so there will be a deadline stream at 12:30, but I'm probably just going to get up and walk out the door at 1:30 and go to Craven Cottage, I should imagine. That's my plan for next week as of now. Clayton is doing the Gameweek review podcast with me this week. That's going to be on Monday. Tuesday will be People's Poll podcast. Don't know the topics yet. Wednesday, Sky. Thursday, Clash of Correspondence. West Ham versus Aston Villa with Chris Stone, Lee Jackson. Ask James stream for you next Friday as well. The Patreon podcast this week. If you want to support the show, Q&A Monday. Tuesday be a quiz. Wednesday be Tottenham Arse. We're reacting to Arsenal's Champions League performance against Porto. Thursday, Money in Football. Haven't decided the topic yet. Friday be our Gameweek 29 preview podcast, the differential show. There will also be additional video content each weekday for advanced tier patrons as well. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Do it because you want to support the show and the free content and stuff like this, which doesn't have super chat cash in it and stuff like that. For now, I'm not saying I'll never do it. And also, if you want the additional content, those are your 2 reasons. This isn't a patron that promises to make anybody a better FPL manager. He does promise to make your experience of playing the game better, though. Right, that's it for next week's content. The patron cell, all that jazz. Okay, let's do some of these non-FPL questions, which I see is a couple of Tottenham ones. So here we go. Thomas Powell says, okay, for a Spurs title, you don't have to get rid of Harry, but you do have to change his name to Pierre-Emerick. Yeah, fine. Whatever. Cool. It could be worse, right? There's worse things we could call him. Surprised you picked that one. And I'm not going to answer the other ones. I'm just going to skip it. Emmanuel Topo says, left nut of Spurs title. Listen, my nuts are useless to me now. I'm 40, right? I've got no... You can take them both. I've got no use for them, mate. Whatever. Rip27 says, well done, James. Great as always. Thank you. Mahesh says, hi, James. Really enjoy your content. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Perrin says, thank you for answering my comment. You're very welcome. Atul says, would you rather Spurs win the league next season or Arsenal get relegated to the Championship for 10 years and Spurs win the league 5 years from now? Oh, okay. I was reading that and I was thinking, look, I'm a Tottenham fan more than an Arsenal hater, right? But the fact, will I live another 5 years? that's the debate here, isn't it? That's really interesting. So we're saying I can win it next year, or Arsenal get relegated to the Championship for 10 years. Spurs win it. I'd miss the derby a bit though. I know, I dread it, but if we're good and they're shit, can I just have them be shit? Rather than getting relegated, can I just have them be really shit, like 16th, 17th every year? I'd almost prefer that more. That'd be really shit. You know, we're going to beat them every year in the derby. That kind of crap. I'd prefer that probably to them actually getting relegated. Just be shit. So if it's that, I'm going to say the 5 years. But but also I don't know if I'm going to make it another 5 years. I'm thinking of my mum and dad as well. Nah, fuck them. It's all about me, innit? Yeah. I'll take the 5 years option. If Arsenal was shit, then go on. Lewis Bonilla says, hi, James. I hear nothing but good stuff from you, mate. Currently overall ranked 5,303 from us. Good luck, mate. Thomas Powell says, proper question. What's the worst away stadium in the Prem, in your opinion? It's always Palace or Fulham for me. Yeah, them too. Fucking shit ticket again at Fulham. Every time. Right down the front. Shit. I'll probably move. Every time I go there, I'm right down the front. So crap. Palace is the worst one, though, mate. It's the worst one. Atul Balaji says, have you and Suj considered making money in football away from Planet FPL? Reckon it has potential to blow up. Have we considered it? Yeah. There's plenty of other stuff being considered away from Planet FPL as well at the moment. Rhett says, best ground you've been to in terms of home support. And which ground was the best you've been to in terms of overall experience? Best ground I've been to, this is going to surprise you. The best two comfortably by a distance. Real Madrid and AC Milan. It would embarrass every single English fan base. After that would probably be Dortmund. I mean, Dortmund wasn't so much because it was UEFA Cup or Europa League rather than Champions League. AC Milan, phenomenal noise. And Real Madrid, when I went there in 2011, exceptional. That's the only place I've ever been, Real Madrid, where I felt like there was no point singing. It was a waste of time trying to sing in the away end. And I think that will surprise people. Emmanuel Topo says 300 plus watching. You seen 9 likes, mate? I'm not seeing that, mate. Definitely seeing a lot more than that. Hit the like button though. Yeah, it's appreciated. Patrick Gordon says, I missed the Sky deadline on Monday, so still have 4 City. Is it worth selling a couple of them before their game this week for the likes of Son, Bowen, etc.? Bother. Sell an Arsenal player for a Bowen tomorrow, mate, in Sky. Sorry, I skipped a few there. G-Man says, will tomorrow match between City and Paul decide the title? Will Spurs have the say? Tomorrow's not going to decide the title. What we discussed this on Patreon on Wednesday, me and Clates. We said that if City beat Liverpool and Arsenal, then that would be really big. But no other set of results over the next 2 I kind of feel as defining. But if City beat both of them, that's... You couldn't say over, but that would be psychologically pretty big. Whereas I think Liverpool could win the next 2 or Arsenal could win the next 2, and it's not definitive in that way. So tomorrow doesn't decide it, certainly not. King Men says, Spurs fan flying in to watch Spurs versus Forest and match day tour. Any good food recommendations around the area for solo traveller? No diet restrictions. Someone tell him. Right, the only answer here is chicken. That's the only answer. And you need to beat an 8 o'clock kickoff to enjoy your experience properly, i.e. have a walk around the stadium and stuff like that. You want to be in that queue for chicken by 5:30. Birth Media says, hi James, are we going to regret these hits for Bournemouth and Luton players? Probably, mate. MRCX says, which Spurs youth prospect are you particularly excited about for the future? Mikey Moore by distance. Yeah, young boy, still in the under-18 group, so you probably won't see him in the first team for a couple of years. And you might not ever, but yeah, he's part of the England setup at that age level. It reminds me of a young Mason Mount, actually, similar. He's the one who I think's got a big potential ceiling. Yeah, he's the one. And he's behind the other crop at the moment, the likes of Don Lee, Dorrington, Devine, and Phillips, who are out on loan. So I'd be surprised if you saw Mikey Moore next year after maybe. Henriette says, as a Norwegian, I wonder which Norwegian football player have impressed you the most over the years. I liked Steinar Nilsson's Milan career. I'm going to say Erik Torsvik. I used to stand behind him every week, mate. J23 says but there's Haaland. J23 says this is FPL related. Boo! but a different FPL where deadline is at first kickoff. I've ended up with double Spurs defence, Porro and Udogie. Starting them both or replace one with Taylor or Regan. Let's just play the Tottenham guys, mate. Rhett says, can you explain how good Moussa Dembele was as a player? Not really. Not any words that I can do justice anyway. Joke. The best thing I can say about him should listen to what his teammates say. Listen to what his teammates say. And also realise, once he was gone, his last kind of good spell for us was in the spring of 2018. His performance at Juventus in the Champions League, it's absurd. Absurd how good he was. And that was his last great Tottenham performance, which came off a couple of other really good performances at Anfield, dominating Arsenal at Wembley. But that was it after that, and from there we started to regress quite badly. That team under Pochettino was so reliant on him. You probably heard me say this. One of the big differences for Pochettino now and Tottenham was he ain't got Moussa Dembele now. And he's got some very good midfielders there. But Moussa Dembele was one of a kind. You couldn't get the ball off him. You couldn't get the ball off him. And he would effortlessly carry up the pitch without doing much. He had an aura and gave people a fear about him. I used to turn up for games, and if he was doubtful, I'd see him in the team and know we'd win. And if he wasn't, you'd shit yourself. I think he will be, for me, probably close to, certainly in my era, the most underrated Tottenham player of my era, by a distance. Absolutely, for me, if you said pick a best Tottenham 11 of my time going, he walks in it, and he's going in there with people like Modric and Gascoigne and stuff. So, what a player. Phenomenal. If only he had the end product. He used to lose composure like in his shooting and stuff. Incredible player. I think was very well liked by neutrals. A very unique player because it wasn't technically gifted. Like if he played a pass over 10 yards, like it wasn't great. Really strange player, but he had an aura about him. You just couldn't get it off him. That upper body strength when he was at it. Phenomenal. We went through the year we challenged Leicester. People know this. The year we challenged Leicester, I think we lost 6 games, all comps. I think not all comps, sorry. 6 games in the league, I think, by the end. The last 2 didn't matter. We lost 6 overall. Dembele only started 1 of them. And that was opening day of the season away to Manchester United. And Pochettino played him right wing. While he was trying to work out what to do with him. And guess what? Once he got a position in the central, guess what? The team started doing really well. Phenomenal player. Could talk about him all day. I'm going to leave it there. Ian Parris says, great stuff as usual, mate. How late are you expecting the Premier League to wait before announcing the next set of TV fixtures? Just before the Gameweek 30 deadline, probably. It'd be like on a Thursday or a Friday, probably, wouldn't it? It'd be in there. It'd be with the double fixtures, wouldn't it, probably? Jonathan says, how poor has the quality in the Champions League become recently? Remember teams like Deportivo La Coruña and Valencia used to play English teams and they couldn't get a kick. Well, there's improvement in English quality at the moment, but yeah, if an Arsenal plays a Seville now, like that's levelled massively, isn't it? Where Arsenal are clearly superior now. So it's the might and the power of the Premier League is what's a part of that, and I think disparities even between your Inters and your Atalantas and Villarreals and stuff like that. These teams come in and they can do really well for a couple of years, but that's the kind of ceiling of what it's going to be probably because of just the money side of it. And similar to like that brilliant Deportivo team back in the 2000s. Were they in the 3rd division now, Deportivo? Madness. Patrick Lawson says, current Premier League manager most likely to manage a national team in the future. Most likely to at any point. Pep will do it somewhere, I'm sure. At some point, he'll do it, I would have thought. I'd have thought that's a bucket list for Pep, is to win a World Cup. At some point. Not soon, but at some point. Failing that, let's throw Eddie Howe into the mix. Pochettino, I'm pretty sure, will do Argentina at some point as well. Emmanuel Topo says, Spurs title or more VAR involvement in the game. Listen, I've got to deal with VAR either way, mate, so I'm taking the title. Mahesh says, question, what style do you... lost the question, sorry, mate. What style do you want Tottenham to play? Possession based, where you trade off offensive changes to make sure less chance of opponent, or more offensive, more chances for opponent? What I've got at the moment suits me perfectly fine, mate. Ask me again in a couple of years, I might want a bit more control, but at the moment, I'm perfectly happy with what I've got. Gavin Richardson says, do you believe in free will, or do you think it's all mapped already? If you do believe in free will, would you allow Harry to support Arsenal if you wanted to? Listen, I can't stop him, right? But is he like ever getting any kits or going to the stadium or anything like that? No. No chance. Dad, please. No, fuck off, you little shit. No. I can't stop him, but I can make his life difficult. Axel Balaji says, good choice, James. Harry would be older when Tottenham win it 5 years from now. Yeah, true. True. Luke Stevenson says, hi, James. Thanks for another week of great content. Do you think Salah will leave this summer? And if so, who do you think Liverpool try to replace him with? Maybe. We don't know who the manager's going to be. So, I mean, there's that. I think if Klopp was staying, I think Jared Bowen would have been of serious interest. I don't know if he will be under a new manager. Let's put it that way. Penguin says, mate, hope Saika is better. Hi from Colombia. I'm working on ideas for my channel in Spanish. Good luck with that, pal. We'll be heavily influenced by your fun and laid-back way of doing it with a few graphics. Star for everything. You're welcome, mate. Good luck with the channel, pal. Gavin Richardson says, I'm off to see my mum now. Have a great weekend. I'm off to see my mum shortly as well. Simon Kurt says, feel like England are still missing a world-class six to dominate the tempo. Would you consider taking the likes of Minu or Barkley? Did a whole podcast on this on Tuesday, mate, so I won't spoil that for anyone. I recommend it. I think it's a good podcast. Pepsi says, hi, James. What are the most common FPL sayings? Like, I don't mind that. Yeah, probably. There's a lot of things I say that I'm aware that I say and I can't stop. To tell you the truth, is one that I know I do and I'm aware of it. But you just can't. The speed that I speak at sometimes I just can't be out. King Men says, thanks for the chicken and Q suggestion for the Spurs Forest game. Come you Spurs. Good luck, mate. Come and find me if you want. I'll probably be in the ground, block 529, in the gangway before the game, if you want to come and say hello as well, mate. Stuart Webb says, hi, James. Will you be watching the rugby or the F1 later? No, at all. Mind you, my dad might. England are playing at a decent time, aren't they, against Ireland? My dad might want to watch it, so yeah, I might end up seeing bits of the rugby. Atul Balaji says, have Fulham's season gone completely under the radar? If they beat us today, they go above us and already above Bournemouth, who have both gone more media attention. I think they've had a good run with some difficult games, right? And I've already said this several times on other bits of content. And anybody sitting here, give me for Tottenham at Fulham next week. I don't think so. G-Man says, where would Matt Letizia rate in today's FPL and what would his price be? He'd probably be a midfielder, I guess. At his peak. Sort of the Saka value, I think, at his peak, yeah. Shame he's a bit warped, but anyway. Alejandro says, you could say Douglas Luiz is a close comparison to how he moves to the pitch, but a hold-up play from Dembele was unique. Yeah, different. I wouldn't per se have compared those two. I do like Douglas Luiz as a footballer. FPL Gold Galazzo says, who would you rate more, Yaya Toure or Rodri? I feel that Pep is trying to mould Rodri into the new Toure. Yaya Toure was phenomenal for City. Phenomenal. Big moments when they needed him, he won them games as well. It's always difficult to compare these players, different, right? Toure became this absolute athletic animal who would score every other week for City. Rodri's best in the world at what he does, which is different. So that comparison is tough. I wonder which one, if City was to build a statue of one in 10 years, which one would be more likely? I think by the end it could be Rodri. Goal in the Champions League final was what it could be. I think on the skill set, it's very difficult to replicate Rodri. So there you go. That's my answer. Emmanuel Topo says, did you name Harry after Kane or is it something else? My grandfather was called Harry, who I never had the pleasure of meeting. Yes, there was an element of Harry Kane. Won't bullshit anyone. But The thing is, the biggest one, mate, in all honesty, was we both agreed on the name, and that was tough enough because I promise you, if we'd have had a Gel, it probably would just be called Gel because we never would have agreed on anything. Peter G says, hi James, sorry if I missed it, but who do you think best Sky captain today? I'll be going Saka, mate. MRCX says, cheers for the stream and the Q&A. Hope you have a great weekend, come you Spurs. And Rhett says, any current Prem player who reminds you of Dembele, not as consistent, but McAllister's giving me those vibes. He's just so cool-headed and not asked. Nope. I don't think there is. I don't even think there's a previous Premier League player that reminds me of Dembele. I just think he was one of a kind, very, very unique footballer. And that's not to say he should be an all-time Premier League 11s or anything. I'm just telling you, like, I don't know where you start. Who was he like, James? Who was he like? I don't even know where to start with that. I don't even know where to start. So I'm not going to. No, I don't like cricket, Emmanuel. Can't be bothered with it. Right, we'll leave it there. Georgie, I can't bother to do any more FPL, but thanks for your question, mate. Can't be back on Monday. Hope you all have a great weekend, guys. Hope your hours are green. Smash a like, hit the sub button on your way out, and ciao for now, everyone. Bye, 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 bye.